Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brennan again, on my way to the gym and gonna film for you today. I'm wearing my hoodie up only because, and spoiler alert for those that don't know, I don't have any hair, and this means my head is really cold. And that's why I wear a hat a lot of times, just because dem feels in the winter. Anyway, I'm recording today because a lot of people have been asking to see some of the shoulder work on BBSM, and that is what today has, is some shoulder work. And it's actually a little bit interesting because as part of this 10 weeks that I'm on right now, it's very high volume squatting. I think I mentioned already, but out of the 5 workout days, we're squatting 4 of those days, with one of those days being a front squat day. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna start with some front squats, we're gonna do some shoulder work, and then actually for the first time ever doing BBSM, we're gonna do some curls. So this is probably the first time I've done any type of curling movement for maybe the past 3 months, if not longer. So it should be pretty interesting. Let's get to the workout. All right, so even though today is somewhat of a shoulder day, we're starting off with front squats as previously mentioned. As part of this, I want to show you guys a little bit how I set up for these front squats. I go in with my arms out front and I try to really find a good place in between my front delts and my clavicle to really just set the bar. So you're seeing reps of 3 right here, and that was the goal of today, was to work up to a heavy 3 rep, somewhat of a max. And I say somewhat only because as part of this, as you see my second set here, and this is with 280, Dan really stresses, because we're doing such higher frequency and higher volume with squats, the goal here is to still work heavy, but not to the point where you're going to really be achy in your knees and your hips. So this is going to take a little bit of playing around with on my part. You then see my next set here. This is of 320. I decided to go ahead and throw on the belt as well. These felt pretty good for the most part, considering I haven't done front squats in a while. Now, if you remember back from the previous cycle of BBSM, we did a lot of front squats every Wednesday. However, when it got to about week 7 or 8 or so, we did away with those and just did more back squats. So it's probably been about a month to the front squats. I then decided to go one more set here, did 340 again for 3 reps. This felt really heavy to me, although looking at it on film right here, it looks like it goes pretty well. So I probably could have upped the weight a little bit better. I also need to do a little bit better job of keeping my elbows up, but that's all right, just something that will come with it as more time goes by. All right, so that brings us on to the shoulder work, and I need to explain this, so hopefully you follow along. It called for seated dumbbell shoulder press, sets of 10, up to a heavy set of 7 to 10 reps. So I worked up to a set of 80 for 10 towards that 10th rep. It got a little bit tough, so I decided to call it there. I think my progression was 40, 60, 80. However, if you want to follow along with this and any other workout, check out my link in Fitocracy in the description box below. You'll see all the reps and all the sets. So once you worked up to a heavy set here, he then called for you to drop the weight 10 to 15 pounds and do 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. So I dropped it down to 65 and did 3 sets of 12. You're only seeing the first actual set here, only because honestly it would be the same thing over and over again. Okay, so from here we moved on to standing dumbbell lateral raises, and for these, I like to use little girl weights. Now blame it on my CrossFit labeled shoes if you will, but these are just 20-pound weights you're seeing here. I find these go a lot better, so I get a better feel in the shoulders. And again, I'm all about them feels, because if I go really heavy on these, I tend to use a lot more body English, so to say, and it becomes almost somewhat of a compound lift. Now for this, he called for 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps. So toward the 20th rep here, I was really getting burnt out, got a really good burn in my shoulders. But it was good overall, and I just kept it static with 20 pounds this time. I'll likely bump it up a little bit for the next time I do this the following week. All right, and that's gonna wrap up the shoulder work. So all in all, I did roughly around 9 sets if you count working up to that heavy set, the first exercise. And that brought us on to standing alternating dumbbell curls, which again is something I haven't done in months. So the program called for 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps per arm. So I decided to start a little bit light again. I didn't really know where to go on this, so started with 35s here. However, in this case, I did bump the weight up by 5 pounds for each subsequent set. So I did 35s, then 40, then 45, all for 12 reps each. Felt pretty good. Looks like I'm getting some elbow swinging here going on. That's something I need to work on, but overall, it felt pretty good. At this point in time too, the gym started getting pretty crowded. So for those of you that ask, I go to what's known as a sports performance center, and it's also linked right to an orthopedic center, so they do a lot of rehab. But as part of that, they have a lot of high school kids and college kids come in and do some team training. So you'll see a lot of high school kids in the background if there's ever any people in my gym. I then need to finish off with just as many reps as possible, some chin-ups, Probably should work on my range of motion here, but to be honest, I was really burnt out by this time and I wanted to just get out, so that probably led to me shorting some of the range of motion on this. I think I ended up getting 20 reps when it was all said and done, but that was the workout. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this shoulder video. Ask me questions down below if you have them, and in the meantime, as always, stay big.